Welcome to True Heel Heat, the place where we use insider terms because we think we know what the fuck we're talking about, even though we don't. My name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch for a special edition of the 3 Count with SP3. I am joined by my esteemed colleague here, the person that you go to for all your food, McDonald's reviews, and she is the queen of Prince, our mascot here on True Hill Heat, none other than Wendy.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi, True Heel Heat Chat. How are you doing? Hope everybody having a amazing afternoon.
Yes, we're giving you this special video here because we had some breaking news. So we like to do either the Romeo Report or the 3 Count with SP3 when the major news breaks throughout the wrestling world. But also, we didn't give you our usual Thursday night delight, which is Blunt Impact. So we're giving you a special 3 Count with SP3 here. And I'm joined by the one of the more lovely, her and Miss Chrissy Love, the more lovely contributors on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm okay. I'm relaxing on my day off, doing some laundry, just chilling, decided to join you.
And I appreciate that because sometimes it's lonely talking about all this wrestling news. So I appreciate anyone who comes along and joined me. But we have a whole bunch of people watching as well, and we want to hear from all of you. So in the live chat, give us your thoughts on Cesaro shockingly leaving WWE. What was your initial reaction to that? What do you think the future holds for Cesaro? We're going to get through it all. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about the initial announcement by PW Insider, the further reporting from Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, and even a couple of superstars in the WWE and outside of WWE who have commented on Cesaro's exit from the company. And what do we think is next for the Swiss Superman? We're going to talk about that on this show. So remember to drop a thumbs up on the video, share this video with your friends on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And if you're watching us on Facebook, drop us a heart emoji, a like emoji. However, this news of Cesaro leaving WWE makes you feel, let us know there. And of course, you can show your support further in the live chat with a super chat donation. We always encourage that and appreciate it. It helps us out so much. We got 5th Generation Carney in the live chat with us saying, hope everyone's doing well. We also got Annika Wilson saying, hey homies. Hey Annika, best comment during Quizzlemania. The boys' hood dream has come true. Yes, you're Quizzlemania champion here. We also got you, my boy Blue, saying MJF was in the chat for the Wrestle Talk Q&A with QT Marshall this morning. Well, very interesting. Going over there, showing some love to the Wrestle Talk folks. He's a big fan of Ali Davis, so he's got the connects over there. Connor Smith saying, it's Friday afternoon, and you know what that means. Yes, it's time for some True Hill Heat. And we got Alan Weinstein saying, what's up, y'all? SP3 and Wendy, THH chat fam. What's good? What's going on? And we got my boy CM Chris here with us. Afternoon, SP3 and Wendy and chat. Cesaro leaving, it was a huge thing. Didn't really expect it. Hoping he goes to Impact Wrestling. So we're already getting a few suggestions on the future and Frantic World. The Kyle Ripken of the chat here with us in the chat. And CM here with us live saying Claudio deserved more in WWE. So let's get into that, Wendy. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, before we start, I know I said it to you yesterday in the chat, but I want to congratulate you on being champion of Quizzlemania. We were watching. I was just like, let's go, SP3. I was so happy. I got nervous for a second, but, you made it to the top, so I was happy.
I was nervous, but I got my Quizzlemania trophy here. It's got Quizlemania written on it now and everything. So homemade trophy. I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank all of the True Hill Heat supporters, our subscribers, and our team, which is the best team in wrestling YouTube. Y'all made it possible for me to have the boys' hood dream come true on Quizlemania. Thank you, Wendy. We also got Joel Jimenez here with us. Thanks for joining us, saying let's go. What's good, fam? Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We also got Ricky, who says, I wish my dudes Finn Balor and Ricochet would leave WWE. We might ask that question at the end if we think who might be next to leave WWE, because a lot of people are just making that choice nowadays. Frantic World, congrats SP3, and CM Chris saying, love it, SP3. Love it, brother. You were one of the first. You started it all. The SP3 for Quizlemania. He started it all, CM Chris, and I appreciate you for that. But let's get into the news that we're here to discuss, Wendy, and it's all about Cesaro, formerly known as Antonio Cesaro, formerly known as Claudio Castagnoli, or gonna be known as Claudio Castagnoli. It was in some shocking news yesterday, Thursday, that PW Insider reported that Cesaro is gone from WWE following the expiration of his contract. The report says that Cesaro and WWE were unable to come to terms on a new contract after negotiations. Since this is a contract expiring, there will be no 90-day non-compete clause for Cesaro. The star was scheduled to be at tonight's SmackDown taping in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but will obviously no longer be there. The Swiss Superman signed with WWE in 2011. After a brief stint in the developmental territory FCW, he was called up to the main roster, and he's really accomplished, quite a bit of things. Like, he's a former tag team champion multiple time with the likes of Sheamus with the Bar, as well as Shinsuke Nakamura, Tyson Kidd, among others. He's won the United States Championship, and of course he was the first ever winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. Last year there was a lot of talk about Cesaro because his contract was supposedly supposed to be up, but it was confirmed that the news broke last year around WrestleMania season that he re-signed, but apparently that was a 1-year deal. But we're going to get more into that on the 2 count. But Wendy, what was your initial reaction to the news of Cesaro leaving WWE?
I mean, I was surprised. I didn't think he would leave, to be honest. I thought he would, I thought he would make a deal, like a new contract with WWE. I thought he was staying, but I was surprised. But I feel like, I think it's time for him to like leave WWE because he can do so much more. He has so much potential, and he's a great wrestler, and his strength is, so immaculate, as you saw on the Andre battle, memorial battle, so I was surprised, but at the same time I'm happy that he didn't sign a new deal, because he deserves so much better.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And of course, we're not going to know what number WWE told him and what number he was looking for. But it's very interesting that it comes on a week that we're hearing about AJ Styles signing a 3-year deal with WWE worth $2 to $3 million. We have also, heard the news of Kevin Owens re-signing, Sami Zayn re-signing. And these are all the guys that are kind of from that same era as Cesaro, and they're getting paid, $1 million to $3 million a year. I kind of would figure that Cesaro would kind of want to be in that range, but it probably doesn't tell us anything good that WWE decided maybe not to give him that much money. It kind of shows where they see him positioned in the company right now. We got some comments here in the live chat. We got Annika Wilson saying, I can't believe it's been 10 years. Did you realize that Cesaro has been with WWE for 10 years, Wendy?
Oh yeah. I knew he's been there for a minute, because I think the first time I saw him on WWE was when he was with Oksana, and
yes,
he became United States champion. So like remembering him from then to like he's still there now, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised he's been there for like 10 years.
He's one of their tenured guys there. We got Alan Weinstein, who says, honestly, I am surprised he stayed this long. I feel like WWE has never pushed him the way he should have been. Glad to see Claudio doing something else. I think Will Washington of Grab City Podcast over on Fightful, shouts out to him. He had a nice little thread that was talking about the point where Cesaro was over the most, which was after WrestleMania 30. After you saw him, he had a bunch of momentum heading into WrestleMania. He had a pinfall victory over Randy Orton that gave him a ton of momentum. He had a huge performance in the Elimination Chamber with the fans getting behind him. They decided to do this like heel turn, basically, with him getting separated from the Real Americans and Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger on the pre-show of WrestleMania 30. And then on the main show, he picks up Andre the Giant, basically recreates the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant moment, body slams him over the top, wins the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. They have a brand new babyface on their hands, and they placed him with the biggest heel in the company, Paul Heyman, the next night. Paul Heyman, who the fans may have decided to start cheering because he's with Cesaro now, and I guess he's a better option than Zeb Coulter. He's less racist than that character, I guess. I don't know. Dutch is a good person. Let me just say that. Dutch is not racist. But Zeb Coulter, the character, I guess it would be a better option. But they just found a new reason to hate Paul Heyman the night prior, because Paul Heyman was the manager of the guy that ended the Undertaker's WrestleMania winning streak, and he was bragging about it and rubbing it in your face every chance he got. So they basically nullified any cheers and momentum Cesaro got with that partnership, because they used him as a tool for Paul Heyman to keep saying Brock Lesnar ended the Undertaker's winning streak.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake on WWE's part. Like, he was like, everybody was like on his side. And then on WrestleMania, when he, separated from the Real Americans, and then on the Battle Royal, he picked up Big Show, recreated that, as you said, he recreated that. And like, you would think, he's going to keep going up and maybe go for a championship or something like that. And then, he teamed up with Paul Heyman. And I mean, I think that was too soon for that, because fans haven't got over the fact that Brock Lesnar beat the streak. So I think that was a downfall for him, for Cesaro.
That was definitely a misstep on WWE's part, that whole entire partnership. And you are right, CM. I apologize. Terrence from Florida picked up Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, and Cesaro recreated that by picking up the Big Show. I apologize. I called him by his other name. We got to call him by his name on here, ladies and gentlemen. CM saying Cesaro had 5 matches this year. He lost all 5 of them. 4 tag matches and 1 singles match. He actually lost 7 of his last 7 televised matches in WWE.
Wow.
Kind of says it right there why he's leaving. But let's get into the 2 count here, Wendy, where we're going to talk about the reason why Cesaro's WWE contract came up soon, and the real reason why he left the company. The details behind Cesaro's WWE contract expiring so soon were revealed by Fightful Select. WWE confirmed to Fightful that Cesaro was only on a 1-year extension after re-signing with the company back in 2021. WWE had planned to showcase Cesaro in a SmackDown Gauntlet match last year. That was the Gauntlet match that Shinsuke Nakamura almost won before Adam Pearce basically won that, quote unquote, to get a match with Roman Reigns before that was changed to Kevin Owens. It was very confusing times there. But the company opted to showcase Shinsuke Nakamura instead of Cesaro because he hadn't agreed to a new deal at that time. He then agreed to the 1-year extension after that. Various reports came out early in 2021 that Cesaro had extended his deal with the company, and shortly thereafter he received his biggest push yet. He had his matchup with Seth Rollins, where he defeated him in his first ever singles match at WrestleMania, and then he used that momentum to verse Roman Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash in a tremendous match that they had at that pay-per-view. He lost and then subsequently fell down the card once again. And we are in the state that we were today, where Cesaro has chosen to leave the company, which follows up with what is the real reason why Cesaro left WWE. And this has been reported by Sean Rossap of Fightful Select. And the report states that Cesaro had indicated reasonable disappointment at the way he had been booked and certain matches and spots he had been left out of. Despite him leaving, Fightful sources did indicate the door may still be open for Cesaro return, and that until he makes a decision to go elsewhere, he could very well return to WWE. Of course, there had been some speculation that he could be heading to All Elite Wrestling, but as of this recording, this stream here, nothing has been reported and nothing has been confirmed. So of course we're going to keep you updated on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel for any type of talks between him and a different company, or if he does return to WWE. But do you think that it was a wise decision, Wendy, for WWE to give him a 1-year extension? Because from how the report sounds, it kind of sounds like they were kind of at that stalemate that they found themselves in this year, where they kind of split sides. Kind of last year, it sounds like, because they were thinking about him for that gauntlet match, but then didn't because he hadn't reached the agreement. So it seems like negotiations weren't going well, and then they just decided to give him a 1-year deal. And it's very unlike WWE to do any type of just 1-year deals. They do 3 5-year deals. So do you think it was wise on WWE's part to kind of just say, okay, let's sign you up for a year and then go back to negotiation table? Or do you think WWE should have locked him in for longer?
I mean, I feel like if they didn't want to lose him, I feel like they could have gone longer. But I just feel like I feel like maybe during the 1 year, probably, just to see like how it goes in regards to like booking and stuff like that. And, to see like maybe like just to see, like, just to give him time to think about, like, what he wants to do. Like if he wants to, negotiate a new deal, maybe the 1 year was like, just be like, okay, like we're going to give you this extension, think about what you want to do. And then we can come back and we can talk about, negotiations for a new deal and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm thinking maybe the 1 year was probably like a good idea just to see what his mind space was, and then it can go back to negotiations and stuff like that. But if they really wanted him, I feel like they probably would have added more.
Yeah, that probably is the thing. That right there, I think, is the key. Is if WWE wanted Cesaro, maybe they would have got closer to the number that he was thinking of, and they could have locked him in for longer. And I think we have a run-in here to share his thoughts on Cesaro leaving WWE. The man, the myth, the legend, it's Top Guy JJ.
What up? What it do, y'all?
What's going on, brother? Thank you for joining us.
Oh, man. Listen, man. I saw it. I just scanned through my messages, and I was like, oh, shit, they doing something for Cesaro. Like, let me pop in before we have a wild day here with the family, because, when a baby girl turns 6 years old, it's her birthday all week.
God bless the baby girl. Happy birthday to her. We appreciate you joining us as you're on vacation and before tomorrow when you join us on True Heel Heat. But what was your reaction to hearing the news that Cesaro and WWE couldn't reach an agreement? His contract has expired and he's left the company.
I'm surprised this didn't happen much longer ago. Like, this is something that I think dragged out longer than it should have, because clearly they didn't value him at all for the 9-10 years he's been there, truthfully. And then I guess the contract that he signed, his final hurrah, was essentially, that one-off match with Roman Reigns, which was probably my favorite WWE match of his. And then there you go. Bye-bye. Okay, let it run out, and then you're gone. You're toast. It's over for you. And it's a shame, because it's like when they finally seemed to give him a spotlight, he took full advantage of it, and he did the most he could possibly do with it. It's just sad because Cesaro's older, So he doesn't have a long stretch left in his wrestling career. So I just hope wherever he goes, he makes the absolute most of it. And I know everybody and their mama is saying AEW, but I kind of don't want him to go there. I need him to go somewhere where he could be potentially the top guy. And he ain't going to be that in AEW at all. Like, there's too many people there. I'm just saying. Like,
I'm just saying, I saw someone, I can't give credit to the person because I'm not too sure who put it, but it would be poetic justice because Cesaro can sign with AEW yesterday. If he comes to AEW, he's in the face.
Who was it that said he don't have the balls to be here? I think it was Eddie Kingston that put out a tweet that he doesn't have the balls to be here.
We're gonna get to that, but basically they said he joins AEW. He's in the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and he grabs the brass ring, the thing that Vince McMahon refused to let him grab. They said that would be kind of poetic justice, so I wouldn't mind that. He comes in and he just gets a TNT championship opportunity. I would love to see him and Sammy Guevara. And the thing with AEW, yeah, they are signing a lot of names at this point. But at the end of the day, everybody seems to, the newer names seem to get a little bit of shine, and they're able to have at least one great match. And they are putting together this historic roster of like the best in-ring workers in the world today. So
True.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, true. You know what? It would be nice to see, but at the same time, dude, it's like Cesaro. Well, he's in his mid-40s, and it's to me, it's kind of damning if he goes there because they have so much young talent that they're gonna put so far ahead of him. He's gonna have a great month or two, yes, and then what happens after that? He's gonna fall into obscurity, and it's gonna be even worse than with WWE because I don't what happens when Kenny Omega comes back.
Well, Kenny's got his spot ready for him. He's going to be feuding with Adam Cole, telling that story. Cesaro, they can do a lot of different things. They could put him in the TNT championship area. They can put him in a tag team. Chris Hero is also a free agent. Put back the Kings of Wrestling, and then we got all the greatest independent tag teams in AEW.
That would be fun to see if Chris Hero was healthy. If Chris Hero was healthy, and he because obviously he was up and down physically. If he's doing well physically, that would be fun to see. That would definitely be fun to see.
And the one thing I do said also is that now Ring of Honor is not signing people. They're doing more of like an independent. I would love to see Cesaro come in, have a great match with Jonathan Gresham, and win a world title in the Ring of Honor world title, something that eluded him in his time there.
Wouldn't that be fitting? Wouldn't that be fitting in full circle? Like if he was able to go back to his stomping grounds and win the biggest championship there, I think he needs a send off like that. I think he needs something that is gonna have us remember him throughout his career because right now we really don't have it. We don't have something like his biggest memory in his entire wrestling career to me is the bar. Like that's his biggest memory was we don't just set the bar, we are the bar, and that's cool. But Cesaro to me is so much better than that. He's so much better than that. Like he is one of the best wrestlers in the entire business, and he just got done wrong for so many years from this company because they didn't trust his character and his mic work apparently because they never handed him one until he had a little feud with Roman Reigns.
Wendy, what would you say is Cesaro's most memorable moment of his WWE career?
Memorable? I mean, I would agree with, Top Guy JJ. I would agree with him with Sheamus. Like, their tag team was really great. Him and Tyson Kidd, too. They had a really good, dynamic. They have really good chemistry with each other. The Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, and also his match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I feel like that was really great. Like that really propelled him, and you would think that would propel him into like WWE championships,
It did. He just lost.
I feel like they could have done more with that. But
they didn't have an idea after that. Like, you could really tell with how they followed up after the Roman Reigns thing that Cesaro getting over the way he did was kind of by accident, and it was because Seth Rollins, who probably wanted to work with Cesaro at WrestleMania, and it got over the way he did because he pulled out the motherfucking UFO, no hands UFO. I think that or the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is the most memorable moments for me for Cesaro. MCAS with a good comment here saying Cesaro is just not a sports entertainer. He's a work rate wrestler, and that doesn't fly in WWE. He will be fine on the indies. Like I said.
I don't agree with shit like this. And thanks for the comment and everything, but Cesaro is not a young man no more. Cesaro is at the twilight of his career. Like, there's no indie scene for him that is going to financially suit him to want to be there long term. This is not going to work for him. Cesaro is not a young man no more. I think this is.
What if he's already financially secure with what he's got? What he's made in WWE, and like we got what I just read before you joined us was the real reason why he left is that he had reasonable disappointment at the way he had been booked and certain matches and spots he had been left out of. So
this has been he's been questionably booked for fucking like 8 years. Like, when did this revelation all of a sudden come? Like, obviously, I hope this all comes with a plan, and hopefully this all comes with something that gets him a lot of success. Because obviously, you guys know I'm a big fan of Cesaro, man. Like, I'm a fan of this dude, and the fact that this guy just got the short end of the stick from this company for so long, and Lord knows where it's gonna take him. I just hope that wherever he goes, one, he's happy. Like, first and foremost, he's happy wherever he goes. Second, I just hope that he gets treated like the talent that he is, because that was taken. His talent was taken for granted in such a major way. Like, it was a shame that they couldn't really find anything for him after he won the Memorial Battle Royal, after he had that great team up with Sheamus, after he had the WrestleMania moments, and then that one great match with Roman Reigns, and then he just fell off. Like, they didn't even put him in the IC picture, the US picture, the fucking WWE Championship picture. They didn't do a damn thing for him. And it's sad, man. It's really, really sad when you see how little a company values people when they work their asses off for you.
Unfortunately, that's usually how WWE treats you, but we got to finish our 3 count here with the 3rd count, which is about the backstage reaction in WWE to Cesaro leaving the company. Fightful Select is on this report, and they reported that the immediate backstage reaction is of disappointment and dismay over Cesaro's departure due to the Swiss Superman being one of the most well-liked talents in the locker room. The report also indicates that this was not a case of WWE not wanting the star. WWE sources actually confirmed that they had offered a new contract that was declined. Like I said before, Cesaro has lost his last 7 televised matches in WWE, and there was reportedly no long-term creative plan for Cesaro because WWE didn't want to commit to something before he re-signed. So, Wendy, what do you think WWE superstars are probably saying to themselves? Maybe like the guys that have been brought up in the live chat here, like a Finn Balor or a Ricochet. Do you think that this whole situation with Cesaro kind of reflects on other guys who people, the fans think should be higher up on the card?
They're probably thinking that way, because like I said before, Cesaro has so much potential. Like, he's such a great wrestler. Like, he could be a champion. He could be a WWE champion. He could be a Universal champion. He could be up there. He could make great matches with the match that he had with Roman Reigns, the match that he had with Seth Rollins. Like, he could, like, other wrestlers that, that were talked about in the chat, like Finn Balor, like Ricochet, like, they could do more just as Cesaro. And I feel like some of the guys in backstage are probably thinking to themselves, like, oh, I can do more, but they're not giving us a chance. So, I feel like it does reflect, with the whole situation with Cesaro leaving.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting part of that was the fact that WWE did want him, because we heard like certain reports saying that they couldn't reach our agreement, but it sounds like Cesaro wanted more than just money in this kind of negotiations this time. What do you think, Top Guy JJ?
Again, man, I think it just all stems to, so the base of your question, what is the main base of what I'm trying to get at? Because I could go on with a lot of shit that happened with this dude.
Well, the basis that WWE did want him, and he basically made a decision that them wanting him wasn't enough, or the money wasn't enough for him.
Yeah, again, that's why I think that's where we let off. I think that's where we began, is just they never seen a value in him after the bar. And for some reason, they wanted to keep him away from other companies for whatever fucking reason that was. I don't know if he was sought out, if they heard whispers of other places wanting him.
Well, to be fair, the other thing we noted before you joined us was the fact that the guys that are kind of you would think are in the same group as Cesaro have re-signed with the company as of late. We had Kevin Owens sign a $3 million deal. We had this week AJ Styles confirmed that he signed a 3-year deal that makes him in the upper echelon, getting paid on the same value as Edge, The Miz, and Goldberg. And then you got Sami Zayn, who hasn't gotten that big of a push, maybe to like just the Intercontinental scene, but he got paid like $1 to $2 million a year. And now you got Cesaro, which if you think the company did want Cesaro, they probably offered him something on the scale of Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens or somewhere to in there. So that money is not enough for Cesaro to re-sign. What do you think he wants?
Because I think what also happened with Cesaro is when he signed that last contract and he got that final push and he saw what happened after the results of the push, it's like, all right, you fooled me twice already. You didn't fool me once. You've already fooled me twice. I'd be damned if you hand me a bag of money and fool me for a third or fourth time. Because what are they going to promise him? They're going to promise him a push. They're going to promise him a 2-month push. Like right after what WrestleMania Backlash, we go into Money in the Bank and he becomes the Money in the Bank winner and fails. Like what are we gonna do? And then after he fails, then he's done into obscurity again. So I think it's just him coming to his senses and being smart. And the only thing I could circle back and scale is if Cesaro decides that AEW is his final wrestling stop, he needs to get catapulted straight to that TNT championship. Like he needs to get into that particular picture, because the world champion, I don't think that's going to happen. But that team, because of the quality of matches that he would have with that entire group of people that is in that division, oh my God. Like, we could get the great match with Miro that we never got in WWE. Like, we can get so many bangers from Cesaro in that little division over there that could have us having these happy moments the way we're seeing Bryan Danielson having all of these bangers as he's, on his final run, essentially, because he's going for banger after banger, and Cesaro could kind of do the same thing.
Very true. So, like, Bryan Danielson has to be kind of like the template for anyone leaving WWE. Like, I want to go on a run like he's going on. Regardless of where I go, I just want to get something close to what Bryan's been doing in AEW. We know that if there's anyone in AEW that's going to be talking to Tony about hiring Cesaro, it's Bryan Danielson, because he was the protective blanket for Cesaro for a few years there. When he was doing creative, he was the guy that was coming up with ideas for Cesaro. He was the one pushing for Cesaro backstage. So I think that he's probably going to get into, as soon as that news dropped yesterday, I'm pretty sure Bryan sent the text to Tony, you saw that? You saw that? Like, you saw that? Like, bring him in. Forget this tag team with Moxley. I got my tag team partner.
Hold off on that Isaiah Swerve move. We need this dude. We need this dude right here.
Nah, you need both. You need both. That's what Bryan wants to wrestle everyone great.
If the bank can handle it, absolutely. I mean, it's a tough day for Xavier Woods, man. It's tough day,
dude.
Like, he's lost.
You play a video game.
Down crew already.
Sean Rossett put the best tweet out there. He was like, play a video game with Xavier, and he showed a picture of Tom Holland as Spider-Man when the snap happened. That's what happens to you when you play a video game on Up, Up, Down, Down. Tyler Breeze gets released. Adam Cole and Cesaro leave. The party is done. The party is over.
The whole "Where the Party At" song, he's the only one left. The Uno games, he's the only one left. The retro games, he's the only one left.
Motherfuckers got Uno cards made for their whole thing, and 3 out of 4 is gone. And Xavier Woods up here complaining on G4 about his rating in WWE 2K. Bro, you better make a call to Tony. Better make a call to Tony. Get on that AEW video game.
Y'all doing yourselves a disservice if y'all don't have the Up, Up, Down, Down channel subscribed to it. If y'all not on that shit, y'all doing yourselves.
I mean, I kind of understand if you were a subscriber of Down Down and then stop because a lot of the stuff dude is like stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Well, we got a couple of suggestions and comments here to feature. Thank you guys for your support, and of course, last call for super chat donations are always appreciated. Eddie James saying he could go to Impact. What would anybody you would like to see Cesaro first on the Impact Wrestling roster? Wendy?
To have a match with an Impact?
Yeah.
I want to see him and Moose, him go against Moose. Maybe him and I'm trying to think.
That's a good one.
Maybe him and Eddie Edwards.
Another good one. Eddie coming off of betraying Impact Wrestling and joining Honor No More. That would be interesting against Cesaro. We got Joe Jimenez who says he could be the guy to come in cold on a TNT title open challenge and win.
There you go. And to piggyback off of the wrestlers that Wendy said, could you imagine a match with him and Josh Alexander?
Oof. That would slap. That would slap, as the cool kids say. We got Frantic World saying I could see Claudio in New Japan Strong. He would fit in with what they do in New Japan Strong for sure. Him and the G1, please, give us Cesaro in the motherfucking G1 this year.
If Cesaro signs a contract with AEW, that has to be the clause. You see that match right there? That has to be a clause in his contract. One match.
I seen it live in 2008 at Final Battle 2008 at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, but that wasn't this Kenny Omega and it wasn't this Claudio Castagnoli. So it would be even better now. Put it back in New York. I would. And actually, when I met Kenny the first time, I actually told him that was the first time I ever saw him wrestle.
Yeah. Do you ever think that he would? I don't really. I'm just being honest. I don't know too much about his indie background. I know he spent a lot of time in Ring of Honor, and I've seen him in Ring of Honor. Do you think he would come back as Claudio?
Yeah, he's going to be Claudio outside of WWE. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Claudio, that was his name for years before he got to WWE. They went with Antonio Cesaro, and then that went into Cesaro. So we already know that history there. A bunch of people happy about my suggestion of the Kings of Wrestling and that theme song, K-O-W, Kings, K-O-W, man. That tag team is so underrated. So
that would be fun. That would be fun to see that.
But this is a thing that I will say, because we have a lot of people, Blue, talking about the bar was the high point. We also got Annika saying the bar was cool, but Cesaro spinning Seth with no hands at WrestleMania was a moment. Definitely agree with you there. We also got Yuma Boy Blue saying, I can't really remember anything else besides being fed to Roman. I forgot about the Andre Memorial match if y'all brought it up. Yes, we did. And yeah, this was another thing that was surprising when you read off his accolades. He says, can you believe Joe Mendez? Can you believe that Cesaro has never won an Intercontinental title? That's like, when I looked at his accolades and I saw he never won that, it's like, that's the bare minimum you could have done for him. Like, what?
So he was like a one-time U.S. champion or some shit?
Yeah. When he was speaking 5 different languages. You remember that?
It's fucking pathetic.
They got
2 B titles in the company, and they couldn't give him a crack at both of them.
So, fifth generation Carney saying Claudio is in better shape than anyone else, any of us have ever met in real life. Yeah, 100%. This dude is.
I don't know who criticized that, but
yeah. Now, no one should, and no one could be able to. We got super chat donation from the Negro Buck. As always, appreciate it, sir. We greatly appreciate those super chat donations. He says, almost went to Facebook jail, but for a warning, since it's Black History Month, here's something to thank the heel gods for helping me keep my crown. Thank you, Negro Buck. And be careful on Facebook.
Left, dude.
Be careful. Be careful. About 4 days left. 4 days left. You'll be all right. But the thing I wanted to ask both of you is, okay, we understand WWE probably didn't see the value or the potential that we see in Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, but let's just look at his history and understand where they probably saw him as. His independent scene. Yes, he was a singles guy, but his most prominent role in there was with Chris Hero, a part of the Kings of Wrestling, one of the greatest tag teams to go through Ring of Honor, a great title run there, great title reigns in CZW as well. He comes into WWE. They initially push him on a singles role and stuff, but he doesn't really hit his stride and start getting over until he's positioned with Jack Swagger and gets over in the Real Americans. They separate him. The time he gets over again is when he's with Tyson Kidd in the tag team. They're feuding with like New Day and the Usos and stuff. They try to give him another push on his own, like the summer of 2015 when he was in the U.S. title open challenges against John Cena. He was feuding with Kevin Owens around that time, but he really didn't get over again until he started feuding with Sheamus, which led into the bar, and that what most of y'all are saying is the most memorable thing he did in WWE. He also, had the tag team with Shinsuke Nakamura. What I'm trying to say is maybe WWE just saw him as a tag team specialist because that's what he's been the best at. That's the times he gets over the most. Not just in WWE, but before WWE. That was when he got over the most. And I think that's okay for WWE, but I think that this is all comes down to what Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, wants out of his career at 41 years old. And I think that's the reason why he's left the company.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And the thing about what we're talking about when it comes to the disrespect, essentially, is the gaps in it. The gaps in everything that he's accomplished. Because there's like, okay, he had his time with the bar, and then there's a long gap here. He had the time with the Real Americans. There's a long gap in between that. And it's like, we know what he's capable of in the ring. So even if he just got put on TV to have stellar matches weekly, that would have been something worth seeing. But he was off and on. And they just never had a consistent thing for him other than the time with Sheamus. Because that was Cesaro's, to me, best time in WWE, because they had a whole best of 7 series, which led them into being partners. And they obviously had one of the greatest runs in tag team history for this company, because they became, 4 or 5-time champions? Like, they did a hell of a job in that, 2 to 3 year gap, that period right there. But Cesaro's been with the company, 12 years?
10 years. He signed in 2011.
So you got 1 year with the Real Americans. You got 2 to 3 with the bar. You got 6 months with relevance with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Where's the other 5 years at? So the gaps is what is hurting a lot of the umph of what we're talking about. And yes, even if he was a tag team specialist, his entire run with the company, he's been with the fucking place for 10 years. So I think you're right, but I think that just the lack of consistency and how they utilize him, and mind you, he's had his share of injuries. So I think that we also have to factor that in too, because Cesaro is relatively injury prone besides the last couple of years. Cesaro gets hurt a lot.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say he's injury prone, because I don't think he's had it very active. I think
that's a strong word.
That's a strong word.
So I think he's had a couple of injuries, but nothing to keep him off TV for 5 years.
I agree. I agree. And they did use him in a lot of those times, but it was a lot like the last 6 months for him where he was kind of just a guy. He's just a guy that's there. We got a bunch of dream matches being shot out. Claudio versus Miro, Claudio versus Wardlow by Alan Weinstein. We also got Joe Lamena saying Claudio versus Bryan Danielson versus Samoa Joe. I want this so bad. We also got DR with a good point here. Cody would be a fool to go back to WWE. After a month or two, he'll be Stardust again. Do you think guys like Cody who are thinking to come to WWE will look at the Cesaro situation and think otherwise, Wendy?
I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, to be honest, like Cody going to WWE, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, there's a reason why you left WWE and to go to different promotions and then end up being a part creator of AEW, and then you're going back to the place that you literally despise. Like, okay. But yeah, I don't think guys. I feel like if people want to go to WWE and have this like idea, like, oh, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be pushed and this and that, it's like you have to think like how WWE thinks in regards to booking. You gotta think about that. No, like they're gonna push you for like certain amount of months, and then once that is over, you're gonna, like he said, you're gonna go to obscurity. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, did I make the right choice? It's like you have to think about that.
It's true.
Yeah.
You kind of have to think about what's the consequences of that move, and
but come on,
not enough people do that.
We all know why Cody coming. We all know why Cody doing it. He chasing the bag. He don't give a fuck about the results. He trying to get that bag and retire by 40.
And it's always a good chance they do give you at least one push. At least one,
even better.
A push better than Cesaro got, to be fair to him.
And if he gets a push, even better. Even better, because it's more bread.
We got a super chat donation here from Alan Weinstein. Thank you so much, good brother. Saying, coming for that crown, Nick Jackson. He's looking for that care package from Top Guy JJ for sure.
We also got, 5 more weeks. 5 more weeks.
5 more weeks to WrestleMania. So you gave him the deadline. He's nipping at Negro Buck's heels. So even coming for him.
What I'll do is I'll get back home. When I get back home over the week, I will send SP a specific picture of everything that it contains in there, and then he can share it with whoever he decides to.
There we go. You, my boy Blue, saying Claudio versus Kazuchika Okada, and that's gonna be the thing how we wrap this up with some dream matches that we're thinking of, because a lot of people commented on Cesaro leaving WWE. Of course, the WWE stars that have spent all these years with them. Seth Rollins put up a GIF of him getting the UFO from last year's WrestleMania. TJ Wilson put up a picture of him and Cesaro winning the tag team champions. But we also had people from outside the company commenting on it, like Top Guy JJ mentioned earlier. Eddie Kingston has never been the biggest fan of Cesaro. He and Cesaro had a long story rivalry in CZW, Shikara, among other places, and he put up a simple tweet and said, all I'm going to say is he doesn't have the balls to come to AEW, when questioned whether Cesaro wants to join AEW. So, we've talked about potential of Cesaro being in Impact Wrestling. We talked about potential of Cesaro being in AEW, being in New Japan Pro Wrestling. What dream matches come to mind if I say name 2 to 3 dream matches you want to see with Claudio Castagnoli, aka Cesaro, outside of WWE? So it could be any company, any wrestler outside of WWE, the independent scene, ROH, Impact Wrestling, AEW, the independents, MLW. It doesn't matter where it is, GCW. Let us know in the live chat as well. Who do you want to see Cesaro verse outside of WWE? Let us know in the live chat, super chat donations. We'll make sure we highlight your comment if you want to throw in any last minute ones. But Wendy, ladies first, what 2 or 3? 2 or 3? Was it come to mind? Not long thoughts. No one's gonna judge you. The first 2 people that come to mind when you say, I want to see Cesaro face who?
Okay, So I did bring up when I talked about Impact, I did say him and Moose. I did say him and Eddie Edwards. When they brought up New Japan, like in my head, I'm like thinking like, oh man, like what would be good? Like him and Minoru Suzuki.
Yes,
Like
Murder
him
Grandpa.
and what's his name? Tomo Ishii, I think that's his name.
Tomohiro Ishii, yeah, that would be an absolute banger. Ishii
like
doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be very hard hitting. Like, you know, same with Suzuki. Like, I feel like that'll be wow. Let me see. AEW. Like, if I have to pick someone from AEW, Miro. You know, Sammy. I feel like Sammy would be good. Brian. I feel like that would be good.
They gotta run back him and Brian for sure.
Or if I had to pick somebody not like crazy huge, but it's like getting up there, I want to see him and Daniel Garcia. Let's see that match. Let's see how that match will go. Him and Daniel Garcia. I want to see that.
I like that for sure. A couple of those are echoed in the live chat. Connor Smith saying Lee Moriarty, which is a good shout right there. We also got MCAS who said Danielson, Omega, Gresham are the three that he thinks of. Top Guy JJ, who are your three to verse Cesaro outside of WWE?
Okay. I'm going to go with one just because I'm a pure fan of both of these two. And my first one I want to see is Claudio versus Jay Lethal. Like, I want to see them two go at it once. Second one, I think I mentioned this in our prior conversation. Claudio versus Josh Alexander. Alexander, the Human Weapon. Number 3, let me just keep it straightforward. I want to see him versus Cowboy shit, Adam Hangman Page.
Oh, that's one I didn't initially think of, and I would absolutely love. So those are some good choices all around. I'll give a few that I thought of. I feel like Cesaro works very well with high flyers. So him versus Dante Martin, him versus Ray Phoenix would be absolutely amazing in my eyes. Him versus Darby Allin. Darby taking that pop up European uppercut. Oh my God, I want to see Darby murdered by that. That would be lovely. In New Japan, definitely him versus Tetsuya Naito, him versus Tomohiro Ishii, and number 1 on my list, him versus Shingo Takagi. Oh my God, I inject that in my motherfucking veins right now. I want to see that. Impact Wrestling, you kind of echoed all the things I would have said. Top Guy JJ, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander and him would tear it up. MLW, I just recently interviewed Alexander Hammerstone. He's just an absolute beast, and him versus Cesaro would be a lot of fun. So there is just so many options for Cesaro. I think that Blue said it in the chat very well that, you know, a person gets released from any company, if it's not AEW, you automatically are going to say AEW. But Cesaro is someone that he really can't miss wherever he goes. There's certain people that go out on the open market and they just can't miss. So even if AEW has 157 million wrestlers, you want them to sign that guy. And the can't miss guys, we've kind of mentioned them before, and AEW has kind of signed most of them. Keith Lee, Isaiah Scott, Buddy Matthews, all of those guys in recent memory have gone to AEW. So that's why I said, you know, I wasn't trying to argue with Top Guy JJ, but I was just trying to give some pushback that, yes, they have a lot of guys. And yes, I want attention to the guys that don't get a lot of love, but they are making one of the all-time greatest rosters ever. So if Tony Khan wants another toy, Tony Khan has a bunch of Woodies in the closet. Joey Janela, Marco Stunt. He got a bunch of Woodies, and he just keeps getting he keeps getting Buzz Lightyears every week.
They might as well just make Rampage 2 hours.
I agree.
I mean, they just need at least 4 hours. They don't do house shows, so they need at least 4 hours of TV.
Yes.
Don't talk to me about Dark Elevation. Don't talk to me about them shits. Don't talk to me about those at all.
Joe Jimenez really loves that Claudio versus Suzuki. Damn, let's go, Wendy. So I agree. I didn't think of that one, but that's a really good one.
Yeah, just thinking about it, just like seeing how they would go. And knowing how Suzuki is, I feel like it would be magic.
And you know what would be even more awesome about that match? Two dudes that don't have to hold back. They don't have to be careful with each other. They can just let it rip.
A drunk guy, JJ, saying Claudio versus Kyle O'Reilly, Claudio versus Paige. Oh, DJ Eric just trying to go after my heart. See, SP3 would love this match. Claudio versus Hook.
I know it's crazy, and I saw that in the comments too. And yo, could you imagine Hook another like 5-6 months being polished and getting himself settled, and then that kind of like almost like a pupil versus student type of vibe, you know? Like, Hook is coming. Hook is coming for the people's heads because Hook is a baby. But, you know, Claudio ain't having that shit because he's been in the game for a long time.
Thank you, DJ Eric. We appreciate the love. He wanted to make sure I read that matchup. Yes, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
You know what's really great about this? Like with Cesaro, like, you know, with certain wrestlers, like people like that get released from WWE, they're like, oh, like he needs to go to AEW or, you know, or she needs to go. I feel like Cesaro is the type of person that I feel like he could go to any promotion and he'll get great matches. Like, you know, you can see him in Impact. You can see him in New Japan. You can see him in MLW or NWA. You can see him, you know, going across the country, you know, going to different promotions. Like, you can see him anywhere, and he can do great matches with different wrestlers. Like, I feel like he's that type of person that no matter where he goes, it's over. Like, he's
the NWA was a shout that I didn't think of, but he would fit because he's very old school and they have that vibe to them. So that was a good shout.
Yeah.
And if he's able to pick a contract in AEW, honestly, he might be able to get a contract with a clause to let him, you know, perform in other venues. And I think that would be very flexible with that because obviously with their roster being so big, he could take a couple of weeks off and go fight some other cats.
Yep. And that would be definitely beneficial. And it's something that Jay Lethal's been doing a lot. Been doing like more like independent shows because he's not getting that many appearances on AEW.
That right. I don't get it. Jay Lethal is doing that dog shit.
Yes, I do agree there. But we will talk about that more tomorrow on our flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 164. I want to thank Top Guy JJ and Wendy for joining me. Top Guy JJ, you want to let the people know where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at TrueHill_Top Guy JJ, and on tomorrow's podcast with the gang. Finally back there on a Saturday with these guys to chop the shits up. I've been having to play some catch up with some wrestling, so I'm not watching Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, so don't talk to me about any of those. But I made sure I watched the Chamber and all my AEW stuff, so I'm good to go.
Smart move. Wendy, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Evelise22anyone. And I usually come in during, you know, Rated Raw Superstar, sometimes on the AEW Dynamite watch-alongs, and pay-per-view watch-alongs as well. I pop in with my lovely fiance, Josh. And that's Instagram's the only place you're going to follow me. Please, no losers, no weirdos, no creeps, because I will send my lovely fiance on you and my lovely dog Prince on you.
And you'll send the gang too, because
the gang, I was about to say that.
I'm sorry, and the familia.
Letting y'all know the gang ain't having it.
I have my familia.
We protect our sisters, Wendy and Chrissy, at all costs. And you can follow me at the Twitter machine on True Heel SP3. This is the last live stream I'm doing on YouTube. I just did 3 straight. I want to thank everyone who joined me on Fightful Overbooked on Twitch for our Degrassi Dudes post show, and for here on the 3 Count with SP3. For our Patreon backers, you're going to have a special 3 Count with SP3 as well, because there's plenty of news for me to discuss. You got Brian Cage getting extended his deal with AEW when most folks thought he was going to be gone. You got Isaiah Swerve Scott, a.k.a. Shane Swerve Strickland, a.k.a. Swerve the Realist, potentially signing with AEW. We're going to talk about all of that on the 3 Count with SP3, number 6 on patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month for exclusive content, and you can follow the gang on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at True Hill Heat. Any final comments? Any final thoughts?
I just remember something. I just remember we were talking about all of Cesaro accolades and stuff like that. But there's one thing that we did not really mention. And it was, one of the things that he really did was he did go to NXT as well. And he did push, he had those great matches with Sami Zayn, which kind of Sami Zayn
thank you for mentioning that, because that would have been a shame if we didn't mention that when we're talking about his WWE career.
They propel Sam, that match, those matches he had with Cesaro was whoo. And they propel Sami Zayn to to get him to NXT
that made Sami Zayn a star. That was his first feud in the company. His first match in the company was against Cesaro, and that he was kind of a trendsetter with guys from the main roster going to NXT, like Tyson Kidd, what we see nowadays with Dolph Ziggler, and really raising their stock and their value by going down there. That was a great point.
Yeah, I just feel like Cesaro, he works well and he has great chemistry with wrestlers, and that's something that could propel him to go to different promotions, because I feel like he would definitely work with a lot of different great wrestlers, and that's the type of person that he is.
You are 100% right, and we'll talk more in depth about Cesaro leaving WWE, as well as recap of Elimination Chamber, recap of No Surrender, recap of the week in wrestling, including that classic MJF promo. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow.
I just want to say,
oh my goodness.
I just want to say, and this in theory, this has nothing to do with wrestling or anything like that. When Wendy is telling y'all about sicking the familiar on us, we are not lovely. We will rip your fucking heads off. Right? We will snatch you through your fucking spinal cord and rip it through your stomach. Okay? Just letting y'all know this. And Wendy's fiance is not lovely. He's a killer too.
Yes, indeed. Final comments to highlight here. Frantic World with good live stream, guys. See you on the next one. Slam and Sammy Joe, Quizlemania champ, SP3. We got Annika saying later, homies. CM telling me to go eat, dude. Yes, I'm going to do all of that. Thank you to Top Guy JJ. Thank you so much to Wendy for joining me. And we will see you all tomorrow. Myself, Top Guy JJ, Miss Chrissy Love. Tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. True Hill Heat 164. But this right here has been the 1, 2, 3, 3 count with SP3. Free Agent Cesaro. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for joining us right here on True Hill